Well, as you can see on that chart behind me, it's not looking too great for crypto right now. The past couple of days we've been seeing Bitcoin take a big dip and it looks like the rest of the market is following. Yesterday, Bitcoin saw a red candle of about 11% at one time, but it did close the day only down about 7.5%, which isn't so bad. It is significant, but like I said in my last video, actually, we might have a dip coming up ahead of us, and as long as we don't dip below about $25,000, I wasn't really too worried because we still haven't made a lower low here yet. That's not to say that we can't continue to the downside some more, though, and it looks like we might have a little bit of support here at about $23,000 if we do dip below this green line. But I haven't moved this green line, and as you can see, it did pretty much perfectly bounce off of it. So hopefully we will find support here and not actually break below it, making a higher low and eventually continuing back to the upside. Although I think with September being next month, we might have a little bit more sideways momentum, or we might even have a lower low coming. It's pretty uncertain what's going to happen here between now and the end of September, but I think after we get September out of the way, we probably have what they call Rocktober coming up, and hopefully we'll actually have a good holiday season. So for now, we might go a little bit sideways or even a little further down. But I think this is pretty normal because as you could see, if you actually zoom out here, whenever we get to the bottom of a bear market, usually we have some kind of relief before it cools off and goes sideways or even down a little bit. And then after we can get that out of the way, we have the parabola coming up next. I don't think we're going to see as much of a retracement or downward pressure as we did back in 2020 for obvious reasons. But maybe we'll do something more like what we did back here in 2015 and 2016. Because at the end of 2015, we were actually going up and it looked like we were recovering. But then at the beginning of 2016, there was a little bit of downward momentum and then some sideways action before we eventually started going parabolic again. I was saying in a lot of my previous videos that this was a real good possibility. And we just kind of got to get it out of the way because it seems like next year is going to be the parabolic phase. But we're just not there yet. So we just got to see what's going to happen. And it's going to be pretty uncertain, I think, for the rest of the year. But as the saying goes, sometimes it gets dippy before it gets rippy. The mainstream media is saying that the reason we're seeing this crypto dip is because crypto prices have dramatically plunged on a report that Elon Musk's SpaceX has sold all of its Bitcoin. It says that SpaceX, which is owned by Elon Musk, obviously, wrote down the value of its Bitcoin holdings by $373 million in the past 2 years before selling them off. And while this might have had some kind of effect just because of the psychological pressure, I don't think that this is actually the effect of them selling the Bitcoin because it looks like they did that probably a while back before it was actually reported by the New York Post. Or actually, I guess the Wall Street Journal. CoinDesk says that it's not actually Elon Musk that was the cause of the multi-billion-dollar Bitcoin bloodbath. It says a Wall Street Journal report late Thursday, citing internal company documents, noted Elon Musk's SpaceX had written down the value of its company holdings in 2021 and 2022 and that it had sold all of its cryptocurrency. But that report came out before the plunge, and there's zero evidence that the company sold again Thursday. I wouldn't think that they could sell again Thursday if they actually sold all of their holdings. Anyway, it goes on to say, professional traders say that market structures and liquidations were likely the reason for the sudden drop instead of a singular fundamental catalyst. The market has also been relatively illiquid and flat, creating conditions ripe for sudden movements. Basically, it was probably a little bit of market manipulation because there was really low liquidity. And as we all know, BlackRock and a lot of big institutional players are trying to get into the crypto space right now. So they might have just dumped the market a little bit so that they could scoop some more up as everybody started to panic sell, thinking that the bull market was canceled. I was just talking last week about how the Bollinger Bands were getting as tight as they've probably ever been, and definitely as tight as they've been in any of the bottoms of any bear markets. And if I zoom in here, you can see indicated by these red areas that it's obviously started to expand here a little bit, meaning that the volatility has re-entered the market. And now hopefully the price actually can move around a little bit instead of being stuck within this tight range that we were stuck in for at least a month because it was driving me nuts. I think which direction it goes, though, is going to matter a lot on what happens here in the next week. This week we did have the FOMC meeting minutes, which didn't do anything to the price action, obviously. And yesterday we had the initial job claims, which came in a little bit lower than expectations, meaning that the Fed might actually have to do a little bit more, and maybe this had a little bit to do with what spooked the market. But next week we have existing home sales, building permits, and new home sales, which can show us if the real estate market is starting to slow down. And then on Friday, we actually have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking, which would probably actually have a real significant effect on the market, because if he says that all of this data coming in is not what he's hoping to see, and he might have to do some more work, then maybe we have more downward pressure to go. But obviously, if he comes out and it sounds more dovish, then maybe even 25,000 will be the lowest that will go, and we'll actually have found support at this green line and head up from here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this new volatility entering the market going to be positive? And do you think we're going to find that support here at $25,000 and go up from here? Or do you think we're going to head down to $23,000 or even lower? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye. This is Abisu. He's named after one of the 7 lucky gods of Japan. According to legend, he will bring wealth and prosperity to anybody who evokes his name. So don't forget to write his name in the comments, or you'll bring dishonor to your whole portfolio. And check out this video right here. Say goodbye, Abisu.